Okay, I'd like to talk very briefly about the church shooting that happened last week. Now, this shooting actually reminded me of a Renaissance assassination. Hear me out. When I was in Italy in 2007, I went to a big basilica called Il Duomo, named such because of the giant dome ceiling it has, in Florence. And then it was a documentary narrated by Bill Curtis, which I saved on my DVR, the old DVR, which my old cable company that I no longer have. And if you watch the Netflix show The Medici Family, this is the start of the season 2. Not season 1, season 2 is the murder. Lorenzo de' Medici was Lord of Florence. He was also a banker. And back then, politicians were heavily involved in business because times were different. Okay, very, very powerful family, the Medici family. And he and his brother did a lot of banking, and they had a lot of power. And they had an enemy family called the Pazzi, Pozzi. And they pissed the Pope off because the Pope wanted a loan. They were so rich they gave loans to the Pope. The Pope wanted a loan to buy a small town. And Lorenzo said no because he wanted a town for himself. But the Pazzi family ended up doing the loan because they wanted to get into the grace of the Pope. Now, Pazzi family, and they intermarried back then. Now don't forget, back then rival families intermarried. You know, the Romeo and Juliet aspect of things? Yeah. Lorenzo's younger brother was married to a Pazzi. So the families hated each other, but intermarried. True. And the Pazzi family decided to murder both brothers. They tried to murder them at a party, but one of them didn't show up, so they had to murder them together. Where are they going to be together? Well, first Sunday after Easter, they're going to be at Il Duomo for the Mass. And one of the assassins was so freaked out by it, he withdrew. He's not going to kill anybody in church. Now, the documentary showed, what Bill Curtis showed many, many years ago, they would do these ciphers, cryptology and shit, to figure out how to send messages back and forth. Because we got a dispatch writer captured, his messages had to be encoded. And Lorenzo's right-hand man had a code book, which they used to break down the ciphers. And he passed it to his ancestors, his descendants, and one of his descendants living today has the code book. And they had a letter from the Duke of Urbino, who was another Medici enemy, to the Pope, Sixtus IV. And this guy, many centuries later, okay, he took the code book, took the note, and deciphered it. The Duke of Urbino and the Pazzi family told Pope Sixtus IV they were going to kill the brothers. And the Pope's reply was, I don't want details. And they went to the church. The brothers separated, but they were together in the church. And during the Mass, if you're a Christian, and the Catholics do this, and other denominations of Christianity do it a little bit, the Mass. At the Last Supper, Jesus told the disciples, this is my bread, eat. Wine, this is my blood, drink. Okay, and in the church, the priest takes the loaf, like a wafer, like this big, dips it in the wine, the body of Christ. Everybody gets up and gets in line. The body of Christ. The body of Christ. The body of Christ. The body of Christ. Okay? Now when the priest holds up the wafer, the body of Christ, that is a very, very solemn moment, especially back in the fanatically religious Renaissance period. And when the priest says the body of Christ, guys pray, some guys bow, some guys reflect in their life, some guys close their eyes. At the exact moment the priest said, body of Christ, one of the assassins took out a knife and began stabbing Giuliano. It was his own brother-in-law. His own brother-in-law killed him. Stab, stab, stab. At the exact same second, another guy by Lorenzo grabbed him. He felt the grab, broke away. The guy had the knife in his hand. He cut Lorenzo a little bit. Lorenzo's bodyguard threw himself in front of him. The bodyguard was murdered. Lorenzo's supporters grabbed him, put him in another part of the church, locked him in there, kept him safe. And the Pazzi were like, we won, we killed the brothers. Lorenzo's still alive. Lorenzo killed everybody, like mafia style. They had guys dragged to the street naked. They had guys thrown in the river. They even hung a fucking cardinal from a church. He was crazy, Lorenzo. Many years later, Lorenzo hires a young artist named Michelangelo to give his first start. Years later, his son becomes Pope Leo X. His nephew, Giuliano's brother, becomes Clement VII. So Michelangelo, the artist, worked for Lorenzo de' Medici, Pope Julius, who was the nephew of the Pope, okay, and Pope Clement. So Michelangelo worked for everybody. Now, why don't I talk about this? It was a church service, and they picked the most important time to strike. Body of Christ. Okay. Now, in this case, in the church shooting, the guy waited a little bit longer. Now, did he know about the Medici assassination? Probably not. But the guy waited a little bit longer. He waited for the pastor and the Eucharistic minister. Now, a Eucharistic minister is someone who is not exactly a priest or preacher. They are a lower person. They are allowed to marry. My cousin is a Eucharistic minister. He's divorced, okay? So they're not that religious. And the pastor and the Eucharistic ministers, body of Christ, body of Christ, body of Christ. They're all in line to get the wafer. This guy is in line, whips out the shotgun, kills the Eucharistic minister. Another guy goes for his gun. He kills that guy. And then the Jack Wilson, the security guard, he kills him. Okay? That's significant to us as Christians because how dare you? It's bad enough to shed blood in the house of God. Okay? That's bad. You're not supposed to shed blood in the house of God. But to shed blood of innocent people, or in the Lorenzo Medici case, political reasons. But to shed blood, to murder, stab guys in the back, to shoot guys that are unarmed, okay, to do that at the exact moment that Christ is being shared with the populace is very, 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 very evil. Okay, there are gangbangers, drug dealers, okay, mafia hitmen who would not dare do that. Okay, that is unbearably evil to kill someone in church at the exact moment the priest or the bishop or whoever the minister is handing out the wafer or celebrating the wafer. What does this tell us now? This tells us now that when you go to church and the priest says the body of Christ, and as you're in line to get the wafer, it tells us what? We need to be aware. Because people are up out of their seats. Because if you have the priest speaking, and one guy jumps up real fast, guys will freak out. They'll think he's either going to kill somebody, or he's got to take a piss. But if everyone is in line, everyone is standing up, people are moving back and forth, it's very difficult to single out one guy. Hey, that's the killer. Okay? Or you might have an armed guard in the church, and the armed guard might see one guy jump up. Okay, he's going to the bathroom. Okay, he's got a gun. Okay? But when everybody gets up, gets in line, okay, there's the preachers and the ministers and the Eucharistic, okay, body of Christ, okay? People have their backs turned. People are not paying attention. People are getting reflective, oh, the body of Christ, okay? They get very, very personal about that. They do. Okay? It's very, very spiritual to them. Now, regardless of what you believe or don't believe, it's your opinion. But for us, it's very, very sacred. And I know the Jews have their moments. I know the Muslims have their moments. I know the Hindus have their moments. Okay? People have these moments where they feel close to their God. Whether or not their God is real, whether or not they're the right religion or the wrong religion, is up for debate. But at the exact moment they are feeling that close to their God, their thoughts are with heaven, God, the Father, Jesus, Mary, okay? They're thinking about the saints, pilgrimages, okay, holiness, okay, forgiveness. I shouldn't have said that last night. I had an argument with my mother. I'm so sorry, God. Please forgive me. Okay, you're thinking about that shit. Okay, and what it tells us now as people, it tells us that we, all of us, me, you, everyone here, we must now understand that we are not safe. And we must be on our guard. We must be alert. Okay? We must be prepared at any and all times. No matter what. We must be ready. That is the message that it sends to us. So next time you're at church or mosque or synagogue, where the hell did you go? That's your business, your religion, okay? When you are in your religious services, you must still look over your shoulder. You must still take deep breaths. You must still be on your guard, okay? And just don't worry about it, okay? Well, is God gonna forgive me if I keep looking over my shoulder? You wanna ask him? Okay, if I'm online for Eucharist and I'm looking around, okay, is that a sin against God? Okay, well, when you get shot and killed, ask God if he forgives you. You must be prepared because evil is everywhere. Thank you.